Well, hello, and a very special welcome to one of my favourite parts of the world. I'm in the very far southwest of Cornwall in the UK, just above a little village called Sennan Cove. That behind me is the cliffs of Land's End, so literally the very end of the UK here. And I'm hoping to spend tonight, which is promising to be a beautifully clear night, out in this glorious landscape, taking photographs of the beautifully dark skies above it. I've got a few locations in mind, kicking off right here, but amongst those locations I'll probably also find some compositions I've not previously thought of. So I'm hoping for just a really great fun evening, making the most of these fantastically dark skies. Glad you could join me. Let's get on with it. Okay, so a pretty simple shot to start with, but unusual in that I'm using my Samyang 135mm f2 lens. On this headland behind me is a rock that looks like it's cantilevered over the cliff. Really stunning feature. And behind it is the Milky Way core, so the really rich part of the Milky Way core. And I thought this would make quite a good selfie shot with me positioned on top of the rock over there with the Milky Way behind me. So I'm shooting on the modified Canon 6D, Samyang 135mm f2 lens, and I'm at f2. My foreground, I've just done a longer exposure for the foreground just to get some of the shadow detail out. That was a 15 seconds ISO 6400 and f2, and I probably then reduced that exposure to 5 seconds for the shots that I'll have while I'm standing over on the rock there. And I've got my remote intervalometer here to trigger the shutter while I'm over there. Okay, right, let's get up onto here. I promise you, whilst this looks quite sketchy, it actually isn't. So, as silly as it sounds, I'm going to do several poses up here because I'm not sure which one will look best. Okay, obligatory torch up in the air selfie. Excellent. Well, hopefully they will come out well. Feel like a bit of a twit doing that. Okay, well, most of those came out. For some reason, some of them didn't shoot, but that's okay. So it's time now to put the move, shoot, move Nomad through its paces, and for the first time for me, do a 135mm shot. Okay, so that's now shooting away on the sky shots. I'm at 30-second exposure at ISO 3200 on the Canon 6D, the modified Canon 6D. They're tracked exposures, and I'm at f2 on the Samyang 135mm. There was a bit of cloud and haze that just drifted past the Milky Way core. Hopefully that is now going a little bit. These are looking quite good. Hopefully make quite a fun shot. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Managed to get about 15 or 20 of those, which I'll stack in post-production to reduce the noise. That's it from this location. It's now on to my next one. Well, welcome to the second location of the night. I am just underneath Cape Cornwall at a small cove called Priest's Cove, and in fact up in the car park earlier I bumped into a friend of the channel, John Phelan. So John, very nice to meet you. I hope the images you were taking from up in that car park proved to be very good. John was shooting some deep sky images of the Heart and Soul Nebula, so looking forward to seeing how those turn out. This cove is very special to me. It's got a very small carved out rock swimming pool in it. My wife and I have often come down here to go swimming during the day, and it's an amazing atmospheric place to swim during the day with the Atlantic waves crashing off the coast out there. So I'm here today to hopefully shoot some of these boats in the harbour with the Milky Way directly behind, which I'm sure you can see behind me. So let's get on with it. Now for this composition I want to get quite high so that I can get all the lovely rockiness of the cove and these boats with the Milky Way above it. So I think I'll probably shoot a 2-pane Vertorama, probably at 35mm, maybe at 50mm, just so I can get as much of the cove, as much of the sky as possible into the shot. Okay, this might need to be a panorama to get the full extent of what I'm after in the shot, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, good. So I've come up above the harbour here, just onto the edge of this wall, which is a little bit sketchy, but I get a nice view down onto the harbour with the rocks and the rock pool behind, the islands out to sea called the Brysons in the distance, and I'm going to shoot a 2-pane panorama here, so a Vertorama at 14mm, so super wide. That helps me to get all of these boats into the shot. It's quite dark down here, so my foreground exposure was at ISO 4000, a 3-minute exposure at f2.8. That is nice and bright now in the foreground, so I can just tone that back to get the balance right with the sky. It's far too sketchy here to do my sky shots, so I think I'm just going to disappear down onto the harbour itself where the ground is a bit more solid and take a couple of tracked sky shots as well. Okay, the sky shots are set up. I'm using the Shoot Move Nomad tracker, 14mm Samyang lens, wide open at f2.8, the modified Canon 6D, and I'm shooting 120-second, 2-minute exposures at ISO 1600. I'll probably do 5, 6 or 7 of those. The skies here in Cornwall really are just like nothing else. We're at the very least in Bortle 3 skies here. I suspect we're in Bortle 2, and I suspect looking out to sea we're not far off Bortle 1. There is so much structure in the Milky Way visible. The dust and dark lanes are very clearly apparent by eye. There's almost too many stars to kind of get your bearings. You have to work out which are the brightest ones because there are so many bright ones. And I love just being by the sea here. In fact, I don't think I've ever been to this location here at Priest's Cove when it's been quite so calm, and the tide is super low at the moment. It's a new moon, so the tides are spring tides, very, very low. And the water surface here is just like a mirror. And usually you've got 4,000 miles or whatever of Atlantic in that direction. Normally, when the wind is coming from the southwest, the waves are crashing over these rocks. It's wild, but tonight it's really peaceful, really tranquil. You can hear the waves off in the distance, but right here you feel really protected. Cornwall's such a cool place. Okay, finally got the composition that I'm after. I'm shooting with the modified Canon 6D, the Sigma Art 24mm f1.4 lens. I am at f2 and ISO 2500, and I'm going to be doing my foreground exposure here at 2 minutes. And then after this, I'll get my sky shots, probably do a little bit of H alpha as well. And then, behind you, I can see Jupiter blazing up in the eastern sky, southeastern sky, and closely behind it now will be Orion, which I am very excited about, my first Orion shot of the season. So I'm going to head over to another location once I've done the sky shots from here, hopefully get some good Orion shots as well. Okay, it's now time to fire off the tracked 24mm exposures. I'm at f2 on the Sigma Art f1.4 24mm lens. I'm shooting at ISO 1250 and 2 minute exposures, and I'll do, I think, about 10 of these to stack. So I've come up a path over the top of the cove, and the shot I have in mind is of Orion above the cove. Quite a simple shot really, and I think the way I'm going to do it is with a 24mm Vertorama, so one landscape 24mm shot for the foreground, which will be pointing mostly downwards, and then one 24mm shot or a set of stack shots for the sky. And overall that will create a portrait shot. But I'm going to have to get the tripod, I think, quite high over this hedge so that I can look down on the cove. Well, I'm glad that's looking good. I think this probably gets the award for the tallest I've ever had the tripod for a foreground shot. It must be 8 feet off where the path is here. And that's helped me get really right above this cove. I'm shooting a 3-shot panorama, probably unnecessarily, but I really wanted to make sure that I didn't lose any of the foreground here. And I've shot 3 exposures at 2 minutes each, ISO 2500 and f2. Hopefully they'll stitch very nicely. I'm now going to just head up onto the headland here to get a nice flat horizon so I can go and get my tracked Orion sky shots. usual settings for the sky. 2-minute exposures. I'm at f2 on the Sigma R24mm f1.4 lens. I am at ISO 2000, and I'm going to have that quickly because flipping cloud is coming over, which is rather annoying. Hopefully it'll clear through and I'll be able to get some good fly shots anyway. Very disappointing, but I don't get the Orion shot that I want tonight. But, you know, that's Astro. Hopefully this will just clear past quite quickly and I'll get another go in a second. Try and put a brave face on it. Well, I've had just the most incredible night. I know I'm sitting here lamenting the fact that cloud is possibly ruining my final shot of the night, and a shot that I so badly wanted to get with lovely detail in Orion, probably put the H alpha filter on, all that sort of stuff has been slightly blighted by the cloud. Now, the forecast said the cloud was likely to come, and it indeed has come. So it's frustrating. It's not the end of the world. I've still had a fantastic night. Just been to some great locations, some beautiful skies. Right up until about 15-20 minutes ago, the sky above my head was absolutely sensational. In fact, still above my head now, I can see the Milky Way so clearly with the naked eye. All that lovely structure in it. The Perseus region right overhead now looks absolutely gorgeous. So if this shot doesn't work out, well, big deal, eh? It doesn't really matter. Thanks very much indeed for joining me tonight. Cornwall is a place that's very special to me. Absolutely love the dark skies here. I love the landscape. It is a nightscape photographer's dream, and it has been very much a dream night tonight. So thanks very much indeed for coming along, and I'll put on the shots if they turned out okay in a short while, and I look forward to seeing you on the next adventure very soon.